Is your project getting out of control? What if I told you that 58% agile projects get out of control? Stick around for this video where we will talk about why some projects run out of control and what Scrum has to do with it. Let's dive in. I'm Josh Epley. I'm an expert in agile product development. My first Scrum team I took from chaos to delivering twice the value in half the time in just 6 months. I am passionate about helping you to deliver real business results with Scrum and fixing the damage bad Scrum can create. Today, I'm going to break down why control is necessary for project leaders, why micromanaging actually makes things worse, how Scrum helps, and what happens when leaders misuse Scrum. I'll even touch on the importance of planning beyond your Scrum team. You've probably seen projects where nobody knows what's going on. Deadlines slip, priorities shift, and teams feel lost. That's what happens when there's not the right controls in place. When I'm leading a project, to maintain control, I'm always making sure of 3 things. Number 1, that work is progressing towards actual business goals. Number 2, that risks are being managed before they turn into disasters. And number 3, the team is focused on delivering outcomes, not just outputs. An output is completing tasks. We finished 50 Jira tickets or 50 points this sprint. Outcome is measurable impact. We reduced processing time by 30%, resulting in increased customer retention. A project that's on track on the burn down, but delivering no real business value is still a failure. And this is where even the most controlled projects go off the rails. Some project leaders think control means watching every move their team makes. They track every task, demand constant updates, and jump in to fix things. This is called micromanagement. Honestly, I've never seen micromanaging be successful for the long run. Teams end up spending more time reporting than doing real work. It kills ownership. People stop thinking for themselves and just wait for orders. It hides the real business issues because teams rush to please the boss instead of solving real problems. So instead of creating stability, micromanaging creates bottlenecks, frustrations, and a disengaged workforce. Scrum is a framework designed based on systems thinking and human behavior that is designed to give just enough control while keeping teams empowered without micromanaging. Here's how. Number 1, transparency. Everything is visible. Backlog, sprint goals, progress. No need to micromanage because issues are going to surface when those transparent elements get reviewed, especially if they don't align with real business objectives. Number 2 is inspection. Daily stand-ups, sprint reviews, and retrospectives ensure you're always reviewing progress. Number 3 is adaptation. The sprint goal and backlog refinement keeps teams aligned without needing constant oversight. As a project leader, stay in control of the system, not the individual tasks. So that's one side of the coin. Now, pitfall number 1 I see. Scrum helps maintain control at the team level. But if you're only focusing on execution, you're missing the bigger picture. Projects need planning and alignment at multiple levels. I recommend planning a project at these 3 levels. The first is operational level or execution, where the teams actually build and deliver work. Scrum is great here. It ensures a steady flow of delivery. The second level is coordination level or cross-team alignment. Without proper coordination, different teams might be working in silos, leading to duplicated work or conflicting priorities. And the third level is the strategic level, business goals and vision. If your work doesn't connect to larger business goals, teams might be busy but not productive. Ignoring any one of these 3 levels can cause chaos. If you focus only on operational work, teams might be efficient but misaligned with company strategy. If you have no coordination, work gets blocked because teams don't sync up their dependencies. No strategic planning, teams ship features that don't move the correct needle. If you've ever felt like your team is always busy but never delivering real results, lack of multi-level planning might be why. We can talk more about these concepts, including flight levels, in a future video. Let me know if you think that would be helpful down in the comments. So next pitfall. Just because we're doing Scrum means micromanaging has gone away, right? Wrong. Scrum can still go wrong if old habits never go away. If you're turning stand-ups into status meetings, if people feel like they're reporting to you instead of solving problems, that's micromanaging. Overloading the backlog, if Jira backlog consists of 4,000 items, more prescriptive than your grandmother's coveted cake recipe, you're probably micromanaging. Over-intervening. If leaders constantly change priorities mid-sprint, the team never finishes anything. Okay, another big mistake here. Project leaders who only look at Scrum boards and Jira dashboards instead of talking to their teams. Metrics like velocity and burn down charts are useful, but they don't tell the whole story. Scrum is about empowered teams making decisions within a clear structure. not about pulling the strings behind the scenes. I mentioned Jira, but any backlog management tool can lead to our third pitfall. They can create micromanagement traps of their own. They can lead to a false sense of control. Just because work is getting put in the backlog and in the sprint doesn't mean the team is actually delivering value. Unfortunately, these tools can be used to control the wrong things. Remember, we want to control outcomes and not outputs. Instead of a collaboration tool, they become a micromanagement tool. The best project leaders don't just monitor a dashboard, they engage with their teams, remove obstacles, and make sure work connects to real business needs. So how can you tell if you're micromanaging your team? The first sign is frequently asking for status updates on small things instead of focusing on the bigger picture. If you're spending more time checking progress than enabling results, you might be micromanaging. The next sign is if you ask your team, do you feel like you have the autonomy to make decisions within your work, or do you often wait for my approval before moving forward? If your team feels like they constantly need your approval, it's a sign you're creating a dependency rather than empowering them. Sign number 3 is if you ask yourself, if I stepped away for a week, would the team still be able to make meaningful progress without me? If the honest answer is no, then your leadership approach might be too focused on controlling outputs instead of controlling outcomes, creating marching orders instead of creating systems and structures for future success. So what can you do if you're a chronic micromanager? First off, don't panic, you're not alone. Most project leaders fall into micromanagement at some point because they care about success. But here's the truth. The more you control every little detail, the less control you actually have. So the best way to cure chronic micromanagement is to shift your focus away from managing tasks to creating systems that produce results. Instead of being the person who pushes every task forward, build a structure with enablers that allows work to flow without your constant oversight. Think about it. Great leaders don't spend their days chasing updates or proving every move. They build environments where teams know exactly what success looks like and have the tools to get there without your constant intervention. That is what real control is. And the best part, you don't have to figure this out alone. My mission is to help people like you go deep into how to build these systems, how to set up the right guardrails, the feedback loops, and the rhythms so work gets done without your need to hover over every detail. If you're unsure of the health of your Scrum team and think it might be being used as a framework for micromanagement and not for empowerment, take my free Scrum assessment linked in the description below. It'll help you see where your control points might be breaking down. Thank you for watching and keep up the good work.